off the Vegas Golden Knights 4-3 at TD Garden. The Bees return to NHL ice.
Morning, everybody.
They play the Canadiens at TD Garden. That'll be at 7 p.m.
Canadiens.
The NBA, the Boston Celtics travel to the Barclays Center.
Canadiens.
They take on the Nets this evening at 7:30 p.m. College basketball, Providence College back in action at the AMP in Providence this Saturday. They play Georgetown 12:30 p.m.
Oh, the poor Saps.
And the New England Patriots are
Georgetown.
heading for their first AFC championship game
Lost by
since
40 points to
2018.
UConn.
This weekend, they'll play the Denver Broncos for the
I
right to
feel
go to
bad for
Super Bowl
those guys.
60 this Sunday, 3 p.m. The game being broadcast by CBS.
A winter storm watch is in effect from the National Weather Service from Sunday morning through Monday evening. It includes most of southern New England. Heavy snow is possible, with total accumulations of between 8 and 15 inches. Roads, and especially bridges and overpasses, will likely become slick and hazardous. Travel could be very difficult to impossible. The hazardous conditions could impact the Monday morning and evening commutes. Delay all travel if possible. There is also a cold weather advisory in effect from 10 p.m. this evening to 10 a.m. Saturday morning for much of southern New England. Very cold wind chills as low as 20 below are expected across much of southern New England. These temperatures can cause frostbite on exposed skin in as little as 30 minutes. Wear appropriate clothing, a hat and gloves, and dress in layers.
Our forecast for today, lots of sunshine, highs near 32 degrees, some gusty west winds, and tonight, into the deep freeze, mostly clear, and wind chill values of 10 to 20 below. Headlines, presented by Morton Hospital in Taunton. They're part of Brown University Health.
The future is bright at Morton Hospital, now proudly part of Brown University Health. This change welcomes a new chapter for our community, one where Morton is empowered to truly shine. As a part of Brown University Health, Morton can continue to provide the trusted care you depend on, supported by leading science that lights the way. Still local, now limitless. Morton Hospital is now part of Brown University Health.
Okay. 305.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WDBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
Okay. 10, right?
It's time for Hometown Talk on AM 1530 and 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station. Our phone lines are now open at 508-822-1106.
And good morning. I am Joey Driscoll. Today, it is January the 23rd, 2026. And we've got a great show planned for you today. Chachi LaPrette will be joining us via the phone lines at 10:35 a.m. this morning. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up at 10:35 a.m. this morning. We have a lot to get to as well, a lot of different things to talk about. Your phone calls, 508-822-1106 is number to call. 508-822-1106 is the number to call. So we have a lot to get to. If you want to call in today, we can do that as well. Now, we have to start the show today a winter storm watch. There we go. Winter storm watch remains in effect from the National Weather Service from Sunday morning through Monday evening. It includes most of southern New England. Now, the snow totals are fluctuating by the minute. It seems like I've seen about 8 or 9 different snow totals for this storm for our area. First, I saw 6 inches, then I saw 7 to 11, and now I'm seeing up to 24 inches of snow. That's what I'm seeing now. So I have no idea what this storm will bring. But heavy snow is definitely possible with this storm. Total accumulations of right now 8 to 15 inches. That could go up or down. Keep an eye on the weather very, very closely and carefully. Roads and especially bridges and overpasses will likely become slick and hazardous. Travel could be very difficult to impossible. The hazardous conditions that could impact Monday morning and evening commutes. Delay all travel if possible, or get all travel done today, or maybe Saturday if it's not. If the cold doesn't bother you, I would get travel done today or tomorrow. It's going to be very cold tonight, so I would get all things you need to get done today. As I mentioned, I'm going to be going to the grocery store today, and I'm going to make sure I have about a week's supply of food and other things that I need, so I don't have to go out for a week. So I think that's pretty important for everyone else to do if you have to today, is go out, get any of your errands that you need done today. All right, continuing here. There's also a cold weather advisory in effect from 10 p.m. this evening to 10 a.m. Saturday morning for much of southern New England. Very cold wind chills up to 20 below. 20 below are expected across much of southern New England. These temperatures can cause frostbite on exposed skin in as little as 30 minutes. So if you don't have anywhere to go, I would strongly suggest stay inside. Stay inside. You don't want to be outside at all in that weather. Wear appropriate clothing, hat, gloves, and dress in plenty of layers as well. So there you go. That's from the National Weather Service. We're gonna probably mention this a couple of times today here on the show, so people can stay informed on that as well. We'll mention that a couple of times probably today. We'll have our sports segment on the show today as well. We're going to get our second to last, preview of what I think will happen in the AFC Championship game. We'll talk about the NFC Championship game as well, what my prediction is right now. And then I'll probably do that again on Sunday, because maybe my opinion has changed between now and Sunday. Who knows? But Sunday is the day. Both AFC and NFC Championship games will take place. AFC Championship game will be from Denver, Patriots versus the Denver Broncos, and then the NFC Championship game that will take place in Seattle. That's Seattle versus the Rams. So that is going to be a very interesting 2 games there. We'll talk about both of them. Kind of give my prediction as to what will happen on either of those games. I don't think my prediction's going to change too much. This is a very good AFC and NFC Championship game weekend here. Both games are going to be very, very entertaining, very, very close, I think, in my opinion. Yes, the Broncos have that unknown factor of starting Jarrett Stidham, but we'll talk about that a little bit more when we do our sports segment. But we'll do that today. Do our transportation segment as well. Any updates we have on the MBTA and Amtrak? Not much going on with Amtrak. But we'll have that here for you too. And of course, Chacha the Prep will be joining us via the phone lines 10:35 a.m. this morning. All right, let's take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple of community things, community announcements of sorts, blood drives and things like that. We'll take your phone calls. 508-822-1106 is the number. How are you preparing for this potential major snowstorm that we're going to get, where we could get anywhere from 8 inches to 24 inches, it seems like, from the numbers I'm seeing. How are you preparing? 508-822-1106. Let's take our not our news break. News break is coming up at 9:30, by the way. Let's take our first commercial break. There we go. We'll be right back. 346.
Here's a winter driving safety reminder. Before you hit the road, take a few extra minutes to clear all snow and ice from your vehicle, especially the roof, hood, lights, and windows. Snow left on your roof can slide onto your windshield or fly off and endanger other drivers. Make sure your windshield is fully defrosted so you have a clear view of the road. Clear headlights, taillights, and mirrors so others can see you. A few minutes of prep can prevent crashes and injuries. A reminder from the
All right, here we go.
Rainham Police Department and your friends at your hometown radio station, WVBF.
We are back. Let's see. And welcome back to Hometown Talk. It's a Friday edition of Hometown Talk. We're gonna break down a couple of things, some things to do for this week here, here from January 22nd to January 28th. We got a lot here to talk about with that. So let's do that now. First off, this is something we mentioned before. An exhibit exploring the sacrifices of military members through quilt work will fill the Great Ponds Gallery at the Lakeville Public Library. That is until the 17th of February. The Great Ponds Gallery new exhibit that is titled Sacrifice, the Heart of the Military. That pays tribute to the courage, resilience, and sacrifice of the United States military personnel across a century of service. Quilts crafted by artists Deanne Joy and Elise Sofpelli, representing 6 major U.S. conflicts, are hung around the gallery, accompanied by art posters with historical photos, poetry, and contextual information. The free exhibit that can be viewed during regular library hours from now through Saturday, February 17th. There will not be a reception. There will not be a reception for this show, though visitors can share their comments in a guest book on the front table. The library is located at 4 Precinct Street. Coming up on Wednesday, Art of the Heist. Middleborough Public Library will host a presentation by Bob Answorth, the author of DUPED, a fictional account of the infamous Gardner Museum heist. Ainsworth, he will review the actual details of the theft, the suspects, and the motives behind the world's most valued art theft at 6 p.m. on January 28th. The event will be free to attend. Registration is not required. The heist took place shortly after St. Patrick's Day in 1990. None of the priceless items have been found, and no one has been charged. And that's 35 years now at this point. I don't think any of those are ever going to be found. At this point, 35 years on, it's going to be very difficult to find those items that were taken that day. That's a very interesting event, very interesting topic to talk about. The library always puts on some really great events, brings in some great speakers to talk about different things as well. I think they had a speaker to talk about Iceland one time. There were other great speakers as well in the past at Middleborough Library. So they always do a very good job bringing people in to talk about various and very interesting topics. So if you're in Middleborough, go down to the Middleborough Library, check that out. Again, that will be at 6 p.m. on January 28th. The museum continues to post a $10 million reward, by the way, for the Gardner Museum art pieces are still missing. So the Gardner Museum is still hosting a $10 million reward for anyone who can find those art pieces. Again, like I said, it's been 35 years at this point. I don't think you're going to find those. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one day they'll come out and say that the art pieces have been found. We'll see. That's something very, very interesting. So we have those events there. When we come back, we have a couple of different things here to talk about. A couple of big events election-wise. A couple of different pieces of information for the 2nd District Plymouth representative seat. We've got a couple of different pieces of information there. We got a little bit of an update on the Middleborough town manager as well, and who Middleborough could be tapping for interim Middleborough town mayor. It is a Middleborough town manager. Sorry, not town mayor. Middleborough town manager. They could be tapping a familiar name to be interim town manager. So that would be very interesting. We'll talk a little bit about that. And much, much more. So we have all of that. And we also have another update on the Middleborough Library as well. But we have all of that coming up after the 9:30 news when we come back here. 9:30 news is coming up. But first, we're going to do America Past and Present coming right up here in just a moment. You're listening to WVBA 1530 AM 99.7 FM. We will be right back.
America, past and present.
It's Tuesday.
No. We want this one.
America, past and present.
It's Thursday, January 29th, 2026. Today marks Statehood Day for Kansas, admitted as the 34th state in 1861. Violence between pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers
Today is not
plagued the
January
territory
29th.
in the years before admission, earning the grim nickname Bleeding, Kansas. Today is also the birthday of William McKinley, born in 1843 in Ohio. McKinley was the last U.S. president to have served in the Civil War, later becoming governor of Ohio and the 25th president. His administration led the nation out of economic depression and through victory in the Spanish-American War. In 1901, McKinley was assassinated while attending the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo. Vice President Theodore Roosevelt, just 42 years old, succeeded him. And that is America past and present. I'm Randy Meyer.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages consent are required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula. It gets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text METER to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of
Hey, everybody.
Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text METER to 321-321. That's METER to 321-321. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What are we doing? 110? Oh, wait a minute. We're doing, no. Duh, we're doing this.
Breaking news this
Yeah,
hour
we're
from
doing
Town
it.
Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. If you're one of the tens of millions of Americans in the path of that massive winter storm, authorities say now is the time to prepare if you haven't done so already, because once the storm moves in, you probably won't be going anywhere.
Severe weather is about to hit.
You won't be going anywhere. You'll be stuck in the house.
National Weather Service meteorologist Frank.
If we get 2 feet of
says
snow, you'll be
is
stuck in the
expected
house.
to cover the southern Rocky
Yikes.
Plains through the mid-Atlantic and into the northeast.
We're looking at widespread snowfall totals of 6 inches to upwards of a foot or more in some places.
And for parts of the southern U.S., ice.
We're looking at ice accumulations that will likely exceed a quarter inch in many areas, up to perhaps 1 inch.
Forecasters say the
ridiculous.
damage from this storm,
Oh, wow.
especially areas pounded by ice, could rival a hurricane. I'm Donna Warner.
The United Arab Emirates
That's great to
hosting
know.
the latest round of
Jeez.
Ukraine peace talks. Negotiators from the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine meet in Abu Dhabi. Pro-lifers from across the country in Washington, D.C. today. It's the annual March for Life.
Organizers have released a statement saying, quote, even with the wonderful blessing of Roe versus Wade being overturned, the necessary work to build a culture of life in the United States is not finished, unquote. And so the march goes on, starting with a rally today on the National Mall at lunchtime, followed by a walk up Capitol Hill. There are some pro-lifers who will seek to meet with their member of Congress, while others will pray at the Supreme Court.
Correspondent George Williams. Vice President Vance says reports that ICE agents arrested a 5-year-old in Minneapolis are just plain wrong. Vance says the child's father, an illegal alien, ran from the agents, who then would not let the youngster stay outside in the cold. Vance made his remarks during a visit yesterday to Minneapolis. More on these stories, townhall.com.
They say timing is everything in the gold and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gaudens and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
star running back makes history by being nominated for a record number of NFL awards.
Christian McCaffrey is the first player to be a finalist for 3 AP NFL awards, joining Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, and Matthew Stafford in the running for the Associated Press 2025 NFL Most Valuable Player Award. McCaffrey and May are also finalists for Offensive Player of the Year. McCaffrey and Lawrence are among the finalists for Comeback Player of the Year. The winners will be announced at NFL Honors on February 5th. A nationwide panel of 50 media members who cover the league completed voting.
Drake May's not going to win any of these.
And I'm getting cooled off.
Canadian
media
Prime
still hates
Minister
the
Mark
Patriots.
Carney is responding to President Trump's comment
But
that
we'll see.
Canada wins
Maybe I'm wrong.
because of the United States. Carney says that Canada thrives because of Canadian values. News and analysis at townhall.com. It's official. The U.S. is no longer a member of the WHO.
It was just over a year ago that President Trump signed an executive order halting the transfer of U.S. government funds to the World Health Organization.
China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
Now the Trump administration says the U.S. withdrawal has been finalized, but it's hardly a clean break. The WHO says the U.S. still owes it more than $130 million. And administration officials acknowledge they haven't finished working out some issues, such as lost access to global health data that could give America an early warning of a new pandemic. Experts warn it could also hinder U.S. vaccine development. I'm Ben Thomas.
On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures down 237 points, NASDAQ futures off 89. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, restaurants, when it comes to great food and in-house operations,
9:30.
you got it down to a science. But when it comes to online marketing, ordering, and delivery, Devour Now has got you covered. Devour Now has 0% commission, no setup cost.
Siri,
and
text
it's the
Dad.
great solution you've been hoping for. Go to
What do you want to say?
devournow.com to request
Hey,
the demo.
Chachi will be on at 10:35 a.m.
devournow.com. Commission-free online marketing,
Okay,
ordering,
sending.
and delivery.
If you are 75 years or older and suffer from food insecurity, the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry is here to help. We serve the families of Middleborough, Lakeville, Carver, and Rochester. Please leave a message on our pantry hotline at 508-947-1717. A volunteer will call back to gather some needed information, obtain your desired list of groceries. These will be collected for you and delivered to your home free of charge. May the good Lord bless you and keep you safe.
There it is. Okay. Alright, that looks good. All right, we're back to turn down the bumper music. There we go. 9:38 a.m. Before we get to some of our big news stories here today, we have to talk about blood drives coming up this next week. We have a couple of blood drives here to end the month of January. We have Thursday, January 29th at Berkeley Middle School. That's at 21 North Main Street, Berkeley, MA. That's from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. for that blood drive. Friday, the 30th of January, Norton VFW, 38 Summer Street, Norton, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for that blood drive. Then a couple in February. We have February 8th, Sunday, February 8th, the Church of Our Savior, 60 Union Street, Middleborough, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for that blood drive. We have Saturday, the 14th of February, I believe that's Valentine's Day, Lakeville United Church of Christ, 1 Precinct Street, Lakeville, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for that blood drive. And then finally, Saturday, February the 28th, at the Tri-Town Masonic Lodge, 38 Franklin Street, East Bridgewater, 7 a.m. to noon for that blood drive. You can sign up for all these blood drives on the Red Cross website there. Also, and also by typing in the zip codes for these as well. You can sign up for these blood drives on the Red Cross. Also, if you're unable to make any of these blood drives on these dates, but still want to give blood, you can do so. There are blood donation centers in Raynham and in Kingston. Excuse me. In Raynham and in Kingston, there are blood donation centers as well if you want to give blood, if you're able to as well. I know that they've changed some. We mentioned this a couple of years ago, several years ago now, I think at this point, 2023 or 2022, they changed these, but they changed the guidelines a little bit on who can give blood. So now more people, seems like now, can give blood if they want to. So we wanted to talk about that. We always try to talk about blood drives, at least once a week, sometimes multiple times a week, but always very important to get the word out on blood drives. I did see something online this week that there is a severe need of blood. So if you're able to give blood, definitely go and do so at any of these blood drives or at a blood donation center. All right, so we have that done. We have a couple of big events we want to talk about, big things here in the news that we want to talk about. So we talked about some of the things coming up in this area as well. There's one other event I want to talk about here before we get to our general news. A massive gallery of frozen artwork and fire dancing performances. That's coming to Middleborough. Attendees can explore a glacial gallery featuring dozens of large artworks composed of colorful ice shards at a 2-day event that's hosted by the KOA Campground in Middleborough. The KOA Campground is a perfect place to host an event like this. I've been there. It's a lot of walking space to walk around and check out things as well. That's where they used to have the Christmas lights. They had a really good display of Christmas lights every year at the KOA, but now that's being done elsewhere in town, the holiday lights, and it's still very, very impressive from what I hear there as well. But moving on back to this, again, this is going to be hosted at the KOA Campground in Middleborough. Each piece is backlit, giving a stained glass effect with a collection that includes prehistoric dinosaurs, Arctic animals, and pop art scenes. The artwork has appeal for all ages. The event is part of a traveling show hosted by the Ice Mosaics, an entertainment company. Tickets can be bought for the evenings of Friday, January 23rd and Saturday, January 24th. So tonight and tomorrow night. After the first night of the 2-day event, the collection is taken away and replaced with an entirely unique set of mosaics from the second night. So they have 2 sets. So if you go tonight, you'll see 1 set. And if you go tomorrow night as well, you'll see another set. So it kind of refreshes things and gives people a chance to see a ton of unique work both days instead of just 1 set of unique work. Fire pits for warming up and toasting marshmallows will be available for attendees as well. It will be cold. Anyone going out to this event tonight or tomorrow night, bundle up in multiple layers. It's going to be cold, as I mentioned before, with the weather in the negatives, wind chill. Not fun out there if you're not properly dressed. But if you are going to go out to these events this weekend, definitely bundle up. Throughout the evening, fire performers will also perform fiery dance routines. Tickets are $13 to $16, can be purchased on the Ice Mosaics website. To stay up to date on weather-related cancellations, visit the weather closures page on the Ice Mosaics website. Yes, I keep a very close eye on that, weather closures. It could, because of the weather, could affect this event, but keep a very close eye on that today and tomorrow as well. All right, so we have that as well. Now we're going to switch over to a couple of updates on the Middleborough Town Manager. As you heard, I think this was mentioned on the morning wake up news this week. After serving Middleborough as town manager since 2022, James McGrail's time in town is nearing its end, and leaders must find his replacement. And this is from Nemasket Week. His request for an early termination of his contract, which requires a 4-month notification before resigning to accept a job at Harwich, has been approved by the Select Board on Tuesday, January 20th meeting. So an early termination of that contract. The board also discussed next steps for the role. James McGrail's last day will be March the 4th. He will provide consulting for the town until then for an additional 2 months and use 4 weeks of vacation time he has occurred to make up for his early departure and ensure a smooth transition. So he'll be around for a little bit longer. He said this time will be used for finalizing the budget and preparing warrants for town meeting, which that's going to be coming up in a couple of months. It's not not too long from now. Town meeting is coming up, and also town elections are well underway as well. Preparation for that too. And also, along with any additional tasks the select board identifies, it will also be used to help the town find an interim town manager, and he will compile a short list to consider. Because town meeting will be held in April, select board Mark Germain said the town needs someone to take on day-to-day responsibilities to keep the town running. Until then, after town meeting, Middleborough will find a permanent replacement, someone who he hopes will be another Jay McGrail. We'll mention here in a minute who they're thinking. This is also another article from Basket Week that came out as well. So we're going to mention that now. You can read that entire article, this entire article here on Nemasket Week. Speaking of who could be named as interim Middleborough town manager, a couple of names, a familiar name has popped up in the discussions. Retired Police Chief Joseph Perkins was proposed by Select Board member William Pike to temporarily fill McGrail's position until a permanent replacement is selected. He'd be a good fit, Pike said at the January 20th Select Board meeting of Perkins, who retired as police chief in 2024. Pike said he is well respected and has financial experience of preparing the police department budget. He said Perkins would be an asset to the town and reached out to Perkins, who was very proud that he was being mentioned as a possible interim town manager. Perkins understands the role would be a temporary one. Perkins has worked in law enforcement for more than 35 years, including 25 years in the Middleborough Police Department. He served as chief from January 2014 until his retirement in 2024. And he is currently serving as the interim police chief in Canton. A permanent chief has been selected for that community and is expected to start early this year. So there you go. What are your thoughts on that? Anyone listening from Middleborough, what are your thoughts on all that news? 508-822-1106. 508-822-1106 is the number to call. Let's take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll have some more news to talk about. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, we'll have our transportation topic, we'll have our sports, and then we'll have Chachi LaPrette calling in 10:35 a.m. This morning to talk about all things Breakfast with the Beatles, and any events he's got coming up for 2026. And we'll take a look back at 2025 as well. So stay tuned. And open phone lines, 508-822-1106. We will be right back.
Matthew Mission Food Pantry helps people with food insecurities from the hardships of life. In a few short years, they have given more than 4,000 bags of groceries to those in need at the north door of the First Parish Church, 76 Church Green, and are available to anyone, no questions asked. The demand increases every week. Please consider a donation of unexpired, non-perishable food items, grocery store gift cards, or a monetary donation via check to the Matthew Mission Food Pantry, 76 Church Green, Taunton, or by Venmo at Matthew Mission Food Pantry. The Matthew Mission Inc. is a registered 501c3 organization. Thank you.
The Matthew Mission Food Pantry is now open the second and fourth Saturdays of the month at 76 Church Green in Taunton.
Welcome to the Tech Mobility Minute, brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for unstoppable growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started.
Your next vehicle may not just drive, it may learn. General Motors believes software, AI, and fleet learning could turn cars into personal robot assistants that improve over time. As reported by Automotive News, GM envisions vehicles adapting to drivers, learning road conditions, and gaining new features through over-the-air updates long after purchase. The shift reframes cars as evolving platforms rather than static products, where value grows with use rather than fades. The automaker believes future products will make your life easier, more streamlined, and safer. It's a future where intelligence becomes just as important as horsepower. I'm Ken Chester.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today. You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.
Okay. All right, 9:54 a.m. We are back here. I'm gonna mention this again. Again, like I said, we're gonna mention this a couple of times throughout the show today. But a winter storm watch remains in effect. remains in effect from the National Weather Service. That's from Sunday morning through Monday evening. It includes most of southern New England. Heavy snow is possible. Accumulations from I'm hearing anywhere between 6 inches and 24 inches. But here it says 8 to 15. So we'll see what happens there. Roads and especially bridges and overpasses will likely become slick and hazardous. Travel could be very difficult to impossible. The hazardous conditions that could it'll definitely impact the Monday morning commute, especially if we get the snow that's being predicted. And it will also affect the evening commutes. Delay all travel if possible. Like I mentioned, if you have any grocery shopping you want to do, get it done today. It's going to be very cold tonight. It'll be cold tomorrow. You may not want to go out in that weather tomorrow. Even though it's not going to be snowing tomorrow, it will be very, very cold. So you want to get your, if you have any grocery shopping that is to be done, get it done today. I will be doing mine today. Also, make sure you have plenty of hot chocolate in stock in your house if you like hot chocolate, because you'll need it. You'll definitely need the hot chocolate for sure. I have hot chocolate in stock in the house. I might get a little bit more, get another 8-pack of it today. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, lots of hot chocolate this weekend for sure to keep warm if you do like hot chocolate. And definitely stay indoors as well if you don't need to go out as well. There's also a cold weather advisory in effect from 10 p.m. this evening to 10 a.m. Saturday morning for much of southern New England. Very cold wind chills. Excuse me. Very cold wind chills as low as 20 below. Those are expected across much of southern New England. Those temperatures could cause frostbite on exposed skin in as little as 30 minutes. Wear appropriate clothing, a hat, gloves, and dress in layers. So there you go. Wanted to mention that. That's pretty important to mention as well. All right, we have a little bit of news here about the Middleborough Library. We talked about an event coming up at the Middleborough Library earlier on the Gardner Museum heist. That will be coming up soon. There's also another piece of news that has nothing to pertain to events, but it's a big piece of news for the Middleborough Library. I mean, it has nothing to do with events going on at the library, but it is something pretty important to the library. The library director will be moving on, taking a job in Sharon. Middleborough Public Library Director Randy Gagne worked his last week in Middleborough. Gagne has been the Middleborough's library director since 2018, and Wednesday, January 21st, was his last day of work following his resignation in December. Members of the Board of Library Trustees have been on the hunt to find a new library director. Gagne will become the new director of the Sharon Public Library, following successful job interviews with the town. Middleborough is now in search of a new director with a master's degree in library sciences and at least 5 years of library administration experience, according to the Library Director Search Committee's job posting. The library director oversees the overall strategic direction of the library and its services, along with managing budgets, staff, and facilities. The trustees of the Middleborough Library, they'll hold a virtual meeting Monday to make amendments to the job posting that was made public last month. So we'll stay tuned and see what we hear from that. Coming up in the second hour, we'll be talking about some news coming out of the Plymouth 2nd District representative race there. There's some new candidates that have thrown their hat in the ring, and we'll talk about that. We'll have our sports segment. We'll have our transportation segment. 10:35 a.m. this morning, Chachi LaPrette will be calling in. Stay tuned for that. We'll talk everything Beatles. So that's coming up at 10:35 a.m. this morning. Right now, let's take a pause for our news here. Town Hall News from the Salem Radio Network. We'll be right back.
We are AM 1530, WVBF, Middleborough, Taunton, and W259DD, Middleborough Center, 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. If you're one of the tens of millions of Americans in the path of that massive winter storm, authorities say now is the time to prepare if you haven't done so already, because once the storm moves in, you probably won't be going anywhere.
Severe weather is about to hit much of the United States. National Weather Service meteorologist Frank Pereira says heavy snow is expected to cover the southern Rockies and plains through the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast.
We're looking at widespread snowfall totals of 6 inches to upwards of a foot or more in some places.
And for parts of the southern U.S., ice.
We're looking at ice accumulations that will likely exceed a quarter inch in many areas up to perhaps 1 inch.
Forecasters say the damage from this storm, especially areas pounded by ice, could rival a hurricane. I'm Donna Warner.
The United Arab Emirates is hosting the latest round of Ukraine peace talks as negotiators from the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine meet in Abu Dhabi. Pro-lifers from across the country in Washington, D.C. today. It's the annual March for Life.
Organizers have released a statement saying, quote, even with the wonderful blessing of Roe versus Wade being overturned, the necessary work to build a culture of life in the United States is not finished, unquote. And so the march goes on, starting with a rally today on the National Mall at lunchtime, followed by a walk up Capitol Hill. There are some pro-lifers who will seek to meet with their member of Congress, while others will pray at the Supreme Court.
Correspondent George Williams. Vice President Vance says reports that ICE agents arrested a 5-year-old in Minneapolis are just plain wrong. Vance says the child's father, an illegal alien, ran from the agents, who then would not let the youngster stay outside in the cold. Vance made his remarks during a visit yesterday to Minneapolis. More on these stories, townhall.com.
They say timing is everything in the gold and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gaudens and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com. AmericanFederal.com.
A star running back makes history by being nominated for a record number of NFL awards.
Christian McCaffrey is the first player to be a finalist for 3 AP NFL awards, joining Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, and Matthew Stafford in the running for the Associated Press 2025 NFL Most Valuable Player Award. McCaffrey and May are also finalists for Offensive Player of the Year. McCaffrey and Lawrence are among the finalists for Comeback Player of the Year. The winners will be announced at NFL Honors on February 5th. A nationwide panel of 50 media members who cover the league completed voting before the playoffs began. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is responding to President Trump's comment that Canada lives because of the United States. And he says that Canada thrives because of Canadian values. News and analysis at townhall.com. It's official. The U.S. is no longer a member of the WHO.
It was just over a year ago that President
Yeah.
Trump signed an
As of
executive
yesterday.
order halting the transfer of U.S. government funds to the World Health Organization.
China pays 39 million and we pay 500 million. And China's a bigger country.
Now the Trump administration says the U.S. withdrawal has been finalized, but it's hardly a clean break. The WHO says the U.S. still owes it more than $130 million. And administration officials acknowledge they haven't finished working out some issues, such as lost access to global health data that could give America an early warning of a new pandemic. Experts warn it could also hinder U.S. vaccine development. I'm Ben Thomas.
On Wall Street,
That's all WHO cares about is we owe them $130 million. Is that really all they care about?
More on these stories at townhall.com.
That's ridiculous.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
It's time for
Play the intro
Hometown Talk
again.
on AM 1530 and 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station. Our phone lines are now open at 508-822-1106.
Okay. That's good. Good. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back. I turned down the bumper music. There we go. It is 10:06 a.m. here. Open phone line 508-822-1106. 508-822-1106. Coming up in the second half of this hour, we will have Chachi LaPret calling in, talking about all things Beatles. That'll be 10:35 a.m. this morning. We'll take a look at 2026 for Breakfast with the Beatles. Some of the events coming up in 2026 for Chachi. We'll also take a look at 2026 for the Beatles in general. And also, we'll do the same thing for 2025, both with Breakfast with the Beatles and Beatles itself. Take a look back at 2025 as well. And that's coming up at 10:35 a.m. this morning. All right. We have a couple of minutes here in this segment. One other big news story I want to talk about here before we get to our sports. We're going to do our sports next. But there are two big pieces of news for the 2nd Plymouth District representative seat race. First off, Carver Select Board Chair Mark Townsend has officially entered the race. Carver resident Mark Townsend announced his candidacy for the 2026 race for the 2nd Plymouth District State Representative seat. He'll be running as a Republican. He'll be running as a Republican. Is now the 3rd member of the race, joining Republican incumbent John Gasky and Democratic challenger Sarah Hewins. We'll get to Sarah Hewins in just a second because she also announced. Townsend is a Carver resident and owns the insurance agency Cullen and Townsend Insurance. He also is the chair of the town select board, which has served for 8 years and previously served on the finance committee as well as chairman of the housing authority. Additionally, he is the chair of the Plymouth County Advisory Board, where he has served for 8 years. Outside of town government, Townsend is a member of the Lions Club and also the Knights of Columbus. Townsend said his campaign will focus on holding utility companies accountable to get better rates for consumers, advocating for the needs of the senior citizens, fight for more state financial state financial aid for the district, and to support first responders and hold accountability on Beacon Hill. And I quote from him, when local leaders keep taxes down and strengthen public safety, residents feel the difference, Townsend wrote to Wareham Week. That's the approach I'll bring to Beacon Hill, determined, disciplined, and unapologetically focused on delivering for our communities. No drama, no distractions, just results. So that is Mark Townsend announcing there for the 2nd Plymouth District. Also, as I just mentioned as well, longtime Carver town official Sarah Hewins has announced her candidacy for the 2nd District as well of Plymouth representative seat. She's a longtime Carver select woman, and again, she has confirmed that she is running for the 2nd District of Plymouth representative seat. Hewins is currently the only Democrat in the race so far, but Republican incumbent John Gasky and Carver resident and challenger Mark Townsend, they're running as well. She ran an unsuccessful write-in campaign in 2024 for the seat, representing South Middleborough, Wareham, and Carver against Gasky, who was the only name on the ballot. Hewins said her campaign will be centered around 3 main issues: transparency at the State House, local control over local issues, and lowering utility bills. Utility bills, I think, will be a pretty big issue across a lot of these state races and in the governor's race as well this year too. That has been a big issue for quite a while now, the utility bills. So I think that will continue to be a big issue throughout this year. Hewins is currently in her 17th year on the Carver Select Board and previously served as the town's conservation agent for 15 years and did 2 5-year terms on the planning board. Her career also includes 10 years as the chair of the 7-town Plymouth Carver Aquifer Advisory Committee, commissioner for the Southeast Regional Planning and Economic Development District, that's SERPED, for 5 years, and director of the South Shore Community Action Council. In Middleborough, she has advocated for pedestrian safety measures as a member of the Southeastern Massachusetts Metropolitan Planning Organization, such as the safe pedestrian connection from downtown to the middle school and a new traffic light at North Main Street. Other accomplishments include affordable housing and conservation work in Carver, and she secured multi-million-dollar playgrounds in Carver. In Wareham, she helped establish the South Shore Community Action Council's Head Start building as well. And a quote from her: "I'm running for state representative to get more things done for our towns, and the most effective way to get things done in the Massachusetts legislature is to be an active, listening, independent Democrat," Hewins wrote to the Mascot Week. So there you go. It's pretty big news on both sides of that race as that race starts to heat up. And that's a pretty big, pretty important race for the Middleborough area. So wanted to mention that. All right, let's take our first commercial break right now. When we come back, we are going to switch over to our sports. 508-822-1106 is the number to call if you want to call in and talk about whatever is on your mind this morning. If you have any thoughts about all the things I've talked about so far on the show today. And if you have any thoughts on the sports, Patriots, Broncos, Seahawks, Rams, if you have any thoughts on that, or any other sports thing going on, 508-822-1106. Sports is coming up right after this. 33. There we go. 425. I'm going to change that to We gotta change this bumper.
Hi, this is Paul Az, and join me this Thursday from 9 to 11 live on WVBF as Cranberry Country Journal moves from Saturday mornings to Thursday mornings, keeping things light and lively as we bring you a little slice of life of the people, places, and activities that make the Cranberry Country area and beyond a special place to call home. I made the big time finally. I'm on during the week, Thursdays 9 to 11 live with the replay on Saturday mornings 9 to 11, Cranberry Country Journal on WVBF AM 1530 and 99.7 FM. See you this week.
No, we want 33, not 32. All right, we're back. It is 10:15 a.m. and we're gonna switch gears to our sports. We have two huge NFL conference championship games today. Not today. Sunday. There we go. On Sunday, and they're gonna be pretty big ones as well. You got Drake May versus Jared Stidham, and you got Matthew Stafford versus Sam Darnold. You have Patriots, Broncos, Seahawks, and the Rams. Now, my opinions on these. Start off with the Patriots first. The Patriots have the upper hand at quarterback. Definitely. They have the upper hand at quarterback. You're facing a quarterback that has not thrown a pass, a meaningful pass, since week 18 in 2023. Quite a while ago. Quite a while ago. That's not great for the Broncos to have to turn to a quarterback that has barely played. But I think Jared Stidham has the ability to play very, very well. He's shown it at times. He's shown flashes that he can play very, very well in games. So I wouldn't count out Jared Stidham. I wouldn't count out the Broncos, but yes, it is definitely a disadvantage to have a quarterback that has not played in quite a while, over a year at this point. So that's a big disadvantage there for the Broncos. But they also said that about the Eagles when Carson Wentz got hurt a couple of years ago, if everyone remembers that. Carson Wentz got hurt. Nick Foles came in. Didn't have a lot of playing time, I think. And he won the Super Bowl. So don't count Jared Stidham out. This could happen again. The Patriots cannot overlook the Broncos. I don't think the Patriots will overlook the Broncos. They haven't overlooked any opponent so far this year. I don't think they'll make that mistake against the Broncos. I think this is going to be a very good game. I think the Patriots will get the job done, will win against the Broncos. It will be a tough one. It will not be a walk in the park. Definitely not a walk in the park. I've seen a lot of comments online saying the Broncos are toast. This is going to be a walk in the park. It is not going to be a walk in the park. Absolutely not. The Broncos still have an amazing defense. They have weapons on offense that can, if if you're not able to stop them, can run all over you. So it's a thing. It's a big thing, and the Patriots have to limit some of those big time players like Cortland Sutton as well. That's a big player you have to limit. Big player you have to limit. Also, they're getting back another player as well that in the run game that you have to limit as well. You cannot let him get any big plays either. So the Broncos, they have some weapons on offense. They really, really do. The Patriots defense has to be really, really good. Got to limit the mistakes on offense. Got to limit the mistakes on offense. Too many turnovers last week. Too many fumbles. Too many interceptions. Still getting sacked way too much. They really need to limit those mistakes in order for the Patriots to move on here and go to the Super Bowl. I think, again, very tough game. I think my prediction on this game, I think the Patriots will win this game. I think it'll be by a touchdown, by 7 points. It'll be by 7 points. They'll win it. I don't know what the final score is going to be. I'm not going to try to predict the final score, but I think it will be by a touchdown. The Patriots will get it done. That game will be at 3 p.m. on Sunday, January 25th. It will be on CBS and Paramount Plus. Excuse me. Then you have the NFC side. NFC Championship game. You have the Rams and you have the Seahawks. Now, this game is completely unpredictable. I have no idea who's going to win this game at all. Also, as far as I know, people in this area, if you have Verizon, you might not be able to watch this game. Last time I checked, Verizon, Fox on Verizon is unavailable. Fox 25 on Verizon is unavailable. And that's where the game will be. That's the last time I checked. I've never checked in like a day or two. I'm not sure. If something has changed, please give me a call, 508-822-1106. But Verizon and Cox Media are having a dispute right now. And Fox 25 is unavailable. And that's where the game will be, the Rams-Seahawks game. So I don't know where you can watch it on TV outside of Fox if you want to watch it in this area. If you have Verizon, you might have to turn to the radio. Either if you like the Rams, you'll have to find a Rams radio broadcast that is not blacked out. Or if you're a Seahawks fan, same thing. You'll have to find a Seahawks radio broadcast that is not blacked out either. Which it's not too overly difficult. You might have to do a little bit of searching, but it's not overly difficult. Eventually, you will find a broadcast that you'll be able to listen to the game for. And this is going to be quite the game to listen to if you're going to be listening to it on the radio. Quite the game, for sure. Rams and the Seahawks are, I think, very, very close. I think it's a virtual tie when it comes to who I think is going to win this game. Yes, both teams, I think, are dealing with some injuries. So that could affect things. Sam Darnold has an injury right now, an oblique injury, which could affect him quite a lot, which is not a good thing, especially if the Rams do exploit that and get pressure on him and put him on the ground. That won't be good for Sam Darnold. That's something I think the Rams are probably looking at very, very closely on how to get to him, how to break that offensive line, how to get to him, how to put him on the ground early and often to affect him. Because, again, he's not 100%. He's got that oblique injury. So it's going to be a very tough game, I think, for the Seahawks. My personal feeling on it is I think I'd love to see the Seahawks win this game. I would. I'd love to see the Seahawks win this game. I really would. However, I think the Rams get it done. I think the Rams get it done. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think maybe by less than a touchdown that this game gets decided by. I think the Rams will eke it out and win this game and beat the Seahawks. Again, I don't want to see the Rams in the Super Bowl, but Matthew Stafford is just so good. He showed it in Chicago. I think he's going to show it here. He just finds ways to win. The team finds ways to win. When you think they're out, they just come right back. So the Rams are going to be a tough game for the Seahawks. I think they'll get it done. I think the Rams will beat the Seahawks. And I think the Patriots versus the Rams will happen in Super Bowl 60. I believe that is a rematch of Super Bowl 52, if I'm not mistaken. If the Seahawks were able to win and beat the Rams and the Patriots beat the Broncos, that would be a rematch of Super Bowl 49. So we get a rematch of, a Super Bowl rematch, couple years kind of space in between there. 49 or 52 is what the Patriots will have to deal with. A rematch of Super Bowl 49, the Seahawks win, and a rematch of Super Bowl 52 if the Rams win. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And that also happens to be our last Super Bowl appearance, by the way, as well. Patriots versus Rams, which we won 13-3. So we'll see what happens with this one. I think all signs point to it being Patriots versus the Rams. But if the Seahawks have anything to say about it, I think I wouldn't mind seeing another rematch of the Patriots and the Seahawks either. All right, so we have that going on. We are going to push back our transportation topic. Probably a Sunday. Well, maybe not even Sunday. Maybe Monday, because Sunday we have a guest, as far as I know, and it's going to be a majority sports program. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a majority sports program. We'll have more thoughts on the AFC and the NFC Championship game on Sunday. Probably the final predictions there. Maybe my prediction changes between now and Sunday, but that's my prediction right now. Patriots win and the Rams win, and that's what you're going to have at Super Bowl 60 is Patriots versus the Rams. Right now. Maybe, again, my opinion changes on Sunday. Tune in to middle of our review to listen. Well, again, a majority sports program. We have a guest, I believe, as well. So, okay. A couple of other things here before we end our sports segment. And we'll do our transportation segment probably on Monday. There's not a lot going on with transportation at this point. It's kind of, still winter. Not a lot can happen, really, when it comes to really big news with MBTA, like construction and things like that, because of the weather. And trust me, the weather is not going to be cooperative over the next couple of days. There's going to be a lot of snow, a lot of cold. Not a lot of things are going to get done construction-wise for the MBTA, as they have some pretty big construction things going on. One thing I'll mention here real quick, and then we'll talk about Celtics and the Bruins real fast, is I did see something about Back Bay. There is a revitalization project happening there with Back Bay Station. We'll mention more about that on Sunday. Saw an article about that on Monday. We'll talk about it, and we'll talk more about it and what it entails. That would be a big project if that does happen. So, Back Bay Station, very important station to the MBTA and to Amtrak as well. All right, at 10:28 a.m. Let's move over now to Celtics. As I been mentioning Celtics, I haven't been really keeping a close eye on them, but they have been really outpacing expectations this season so far. Right now, they're sitting at 27-16, and they have a game against the very bad Brooklyn Nets tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Tonight, 7:30 p.m. start. That's going to be a good game, I think, regardless of what the record is. You never look at the record. Some of these games where the team has been really bad that the Celtics have faced end up being really good games. I mean, take a look at the Pacers game at times, and take a look at another Pacers game where we lost. So the record means nothing. Cannot overlook the Nets. That'll be an interesting game for sure. And really quickly here for the Bruins, they continue to do very, very well as well. They beat the Golden Knights yesterday 3-4. Their next game is against the Canadiens. That's on Saturday at 7 p.m. And they're also outpacing expectations as well. A lot of people were expecting the Bruins to not be that good this year. You know, a new coach, some changes on the team. But they have kind of outpaced expectations as well. They've won 9 of their last 11, I believe it is. So the Bruins are doing pretty well. Maybe they might be able to sneak into the playoffs here. Do I think they'll go far in the playoffs? No, I don't. But, you know, never say never, I guess. A team that I think will definitely go far in the playoffs is their AHL affiliate, the Providence Bruins, who are on top of, last time I checked, which was yesterday, they are on top of the AHL Eastern Conference, Atlantic Division, I believe it is. They're on top of that division. So that's pretty big. That's pretty big for them. They've been in a fight with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins pretty much the entire season. So and they've been chasing the red hot Grand Rapids Griffins as well, who have a lead on them by like 10 points. Grand Rapids Griffins have been really, really good. Actually, lately, though, they've lost a couple of games here down the last couple of days. But anyway, 10:31 a.m. Let's take our news break, and we'll be right back with Chachi Lapret from Breakfast with the Beatles. No guest on Sunday. Okay, that's fine.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Hamilton. From the southern Rockies to New England,
Siri,
tens of
Dad.
millions of Americans are bracing for that massive winter storm.
Okay,
Forecasters are warning
thank you
of
for letting
heavy
me
snow
know.
or catastrophic icing, or a mix of snow and ice, depending on your location. Bitter cold is expected as well. Atlanta resident Wendy Chambers and her granddaughter have fresh batteries for their flashlights.
They're saying it's a severe ice storm coming. It's hard to believe when you look around, but we're expecting it. We're going to be prepared, aren't we? Going to be able to read, do things, play games.
Vice President Vance says ICE face big obstacles while trying to enforce federal immigration law.
If you look at the context of what's going on, you understand that these people are under an incredible amount of duress, an incredible amount of chaos, and because of a few very far left agitators, a lot of these guys are unable to do their jobs without being harassed, without being doxxed, and sometimes without being assaulted. That's totally unacceptable.
The Vice President speaking yesterday during a stop in Minneapolis. Today's the day. It's the 53rd annual March for Life.
Tens of thousands of pro-lifers from across the country are expected on the National Mall this afternoon. They will hear from a variety of speakers and then walk up Constitution Avenue to rally before the Capitol and at the steps of the Supreme Court. Will the High Court overturn Roe versus Wade in 2022? Pro-life advocates say they'll keep marching until abortion is unthinkable in this country.
Correspondent George Williams. TikTok's U.S. operations are now majority American-owned and averts a ban on the popular video sharing site in the U.S. Watching Wall Street this morning, stocks have turned mixed. The Dow is down 232 points, while the NASDAQ is trading 27 points higher. The S&P is off a fraction. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Have you noticed losing weight is harder than it used to be? You're eating better and exercising, but the scale barely moves? The real problem isn't willpower, it's metabolic dysfunction. And standard dieting just makes it worse. PhD Weight Loss has helped thousands fix the root cause of stubborn weight. Take their free metabolic assessment at fixmyweightloss.com. Fixmyweightloss.com. It's quick, personalized, and shows why your body is resisting weight loss, so you know exactly what to fix. Visit fixmyweightloss.com. That's fixmyweightloss.com.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 60%.
Good morning. This is Joey Driscoll. This is Chachi. Oh, wait a second here. Let me turn this up. Is this Chachi?
Yes, it is. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. I didn't have the phone up.
Okay.
All right.
I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound great. How do I sound?
A little bit of noise behind your voice, but I can hear everything you're saying, so I'm good at this.
Good. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure. I know we were having a little bit of issues with our phone lines, so wanted to make sure.
I'm good. I'm here.
Awesome. All right, we got about 2 minutes.
Very good.
$30 seconds.
Good.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, 0. And welcome back. So I turned down the bumper music. There we go. It is 10:38 a.m. It is January 23rd, 2026. The calm before the potentially 2 feet of snow we're going to get. As I've been mentioning here all morning, winter storm watch is in effect. Also, a cold weather advisory is in effect as well. You can see wind chill up to 20 below, which is not going to be fun to be in. If you have any grocery shopping that you need to get done, definitely do it today because, again, the snow will be coming. It will be coming Sunday through into Monday as well. So stay tuned throughout the weekend. We'll have more updates on this storm. Hopefully, hopefully it's on the lower end of things, and hopefully it's not 2 feet of snow. But anyway, we have Chachi LaPrette on the line here with us. So I want to say good morning, Chachi. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Joey. It's my pleasure. The last time we were together, we were in the sunshine at Lorenzo's on a summer's evening, actually early evening, and the sun was still out and it's warm, and here we are with this crazy storm coming in. So be safe, and everybody who's listening, take care of your animals, keep them inside, because we love our pets. So I just wanted to say that right off, Joey. Well, good morning.
Absolutely. We just playing the news a couple of minutes ago, the Salem Radio News, and a crazy story about 450 white rats kept as pets as well, and they were rescued from a home, and a lot of them are going to find new homes. So that's important to keep your pets indoors when it's cold, for sure. Definitely, especially cats. I have a cat. We're going to be keeping him indoors, or her indoors, for sure, if when she's around. She's more of an outdoor cat. But we'll definitely, if she comes around, we'll definitely keep her indoors because it's going to be very, very cold. Okay, first thing I want to mention here, I'm going to go back to 2025. What were some of the big stories on the Beatles front that you thought were big? Any television shows? Any documentaries that came out? Any new music that came out? I know there's been some new music, but what was some of your big takeaways for 2025 for the band, the Beatles?
Well, several come to mind. It was a big year for Ringo last year. He put out his long-awaited second country LP. He did one in 1970, which was really fantastic, Buku's Blues. And even when I had interviewed him several times through the years, I always admired that album. And he would always say, someday I'll do another one. Well, he did another one last year. The album was called Look Up, and it was fantastic. Every track is great. I recommend it. And he also had a network special on CBS to highlight the album. So it was a great year for Ringo last year, and he still tours. And then we had Beatles Anthology 4, the set, come out with even more unreleased tracks. It's really a great double CD set with songs like If I Fell and Things We Said Today, alternate tracks, outtakes. Take One of In My Life comes to mind. It was really fantastic. And so Anthology 4 just came out. And there's always, special TV specials coming out. You can find them on Netflix. And I just did, at the end of last year, a screening of Midas Man at the Jewish Film Society Festival in Newton, Massachusetts. And Midas Man is the story of Brian Epstein, who founded and discovered and managed the Beatles. And what a great film. You can find that out there. It's on like Amazon Prime, some things like that. But that was another outstanding film from last year. So every year is a big year. And so it was great last year. We're looking forward to this year.
Yeah, and you talked about Ringo as well. I don't know if it's been a quiet year for Paul McCartney because he has been touring a little bit. But what were some of the things that you thought were good with Paul McCartney there?
Paul is always out there. He's amazing. He did another leg of his tour. He's working on a new album. It should be out soon. I'm guessing it's going to be out this year. He's been working on it off and on last year. And he's always making appearances. And so he always has a lot going on. And I will tell you, though, the next 2 weeks, we have a lot to celebrate. And that is On January 30th, which is a few days from now, in 1969, the Beatles played on the roof at Apple headquarters. So that anniversary is coming up. We're featuring it on our Breakfast with the Beatles radio show this weekend. And then I know you were there for it, Joey, February 9th, 1964, watching the Ed Sullivan Show. Now you're far too young. But nonetheless, the anniversary of the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show is coming up. And everyone celebrates every year that milestone, that moment where everything stopped in America to watch the Ed Sullivan Show. And the youth of America were never the same. I included. I watched it as a kid, and it stayed with me since that day. And I found my career on the Beatles, and like many other people have, musicians, and we were inspired by the Beatles in so many ways. So that moment in time will be relived in 2 weeks on Breakfast with the Beatles, my radio show here in New England, and we'll play the audio from that night, which is always fun to hear.
Yeah, I don't think we have seen since the Beatles an audience reaction to a band like that. You know, the way the audience, especially the female audience, reacted to the Beatles. I don't think we've seen that really since maybe Taylor Swift is the closest we've gotten, to that kind of response. But the Beatles, the audience response was truly something interesting.
Well,
and special.
the thing is that that's really worth comparing. I mean, life's far different today, Joey, right?
Absolutely.
Something can happen in Middleborough and it could spread around the world in minutes. It's a whole different game. In 1964, you didn't have any of that. You had television, you had newspapers, you had magazines, and that was it. And the word of the Beatles spread so quickly that it can't be compared to today. Their legend just spread around the world so quickly, despite not having social media or any kinds of things like that. I grew up in Cambridge, Joey, right? So I would go to Harvard Square, and there'd be a newspaper store there right in the middle of the square, Out of Town News. And I'd go there to pick up magazines and newspapers from England. And we would get it like a week later, so we would even get that news late. But word spread of the Beatles, and today, back in '64, I myself included, were listening to Meet the Beatles. We were anticipating February 9th, and we never looked back once the Beatles came to America.
A question here that I wanted to ask you. What is a little known Beatles live performance that maybe not a lot of people know about, that people really, really should take a look at?
Well, there's an interesting story out of Colston Hall, which is a hall in Liverpool, in the Liverpool area. And this is back in 64, I think, maybe the end of 63. But it sold out immediately. They had lines of people trying to buy tickets. There was a dispute with the press because no tickets were held by the press. There's a lot of soap opera going on. But when there were a group of students who had a scheme to be there on the night the Beatles played at Colston Hall, they climbed up the rafters, the lighting rafters, and no one knew, no one saw. And what happened was they brought up bags of flour, white flour. And during a song, the teenagers dropped the flour bags, emptied the bags onto the Beatles, so they were covered in white flour. And this is when they were just hitting, a real stride across Europe and Scotland and Liverpool. And they're standing there covered in white flour. And, the Beatles could have got angry, could have stomped off and ended the concert. They looked at each other laughing. They loved it. They finished the show, and they were covered in white flour. So that is a legendary story that not many people know.
And I would, I don't want to forget the other two members of the Beatles as well. We mentioned Ringo. We mentioned Paul. Some of the stuff that happened there in 2025 for them. But any material that has come out for John Lennon or George Harrison in 2025 at all?
Yeah, they had the Mind Games package came out from John. There was a great movie called 1 to 1. It was a John Lennon film of his days living in the Village in New York with Yoko and doing a concert. That was a great film. So John's estate, Sean, is always putting out new material. They just put out a box set of the 1 to 1 concerts that John did, the daytime and nighttime performance. So that came out. And George, they're prepping the Live in Japan album remastered, and they're going to be releasing that this year in 2026. But they always release something for Record Store Day. So each estate is actively, keeping the Beatles top of mind, mining younger fans, turning them on to the Beatles and to each solo Beatle specifically. So there's always action going on.
All right. Switching gears to Breakfast with the Beatles. What are some of the big events that happened for you in 2025?
Well, we're on the road doing our shows. I am on stage with John Logan, Beatles Magician. You've been to some of them.
Yes.
At City Winery and at Lorenzo's. We will be doing 4 more dates at Lorenzo's. One date in June, July, August, and September, with a band performance on the August show. You've been to that. So that's coming up this year. But last year we had 4 sold-out shows. Great. We did our City Winery shows. We were at Kowloon. We were at Goodnight Johnny's. John Logan does his Beatles magic while I talk about the music. We play trivia. And John and I are hosting some shows coming up very soon. February, this is something completely off track, Joey. On February 1st at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, I will be emceeing along with John Logan, Beatles Magician from America's Got Talent, a Rat Pack show at the Regent Theater in Arlington, Mass. You know the Rat Pack, right?
Yes, I do.
That's right. They're having a Rat Pack show. It's called The Rat Pack, a Valentine's Special, featuring Dean, Frank, Sammy, and an appearance by Marilyn Monroe. That's at the Regent Theater on February 1st. I'm sorry, it's a 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon show. So we're looking forward to that. This Friday night, a week from tonight, I will be doing a live broadcast on WUMB 91.9 FM in Boston with Peter Wolf. He will be guest DJing for 2 hours, 8 to 10 p.m. I'm producing that show. I'll be on with Wolf. So that's a week from tonight. We're looking forward to that. And then on March 1st, my dear friend Tom White, Middleborough Selectman, is having his re-election party March 1st at the Memorial Mitchell Club. I'll be there hosting that, playing Beatle trivia, giving away prizes. And Tom White is really great. He's a great selectman. He's running for re-election, so join us there. And I talked to him this morning, Joey, and he's like, I'd love to come on Joey's show sometime. So if you ever want Tom White on, he would love to be on with you.
Yeah, I'll be in contact with him for sure. We'll have him on probably in February to talk about that too.
I know he's listening right now.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Go off topic here a little bit. Switch from the Beatles here. We recently got the news of the passing of Bob Weir of Grateful Dead. What are some of your thoughts on Grateful Dead and Bob Weir?
Well, listen, growing up, excuse me, and having friends who loved the Grateful Dead, it was a true obsession. I mean, I have a friend who collected cassettes of almost every concert the Grateful Dead did. I mean, the love for this band just never ended. And they did it without having a hit record. They did it, it was a groundswell. They were never embraced by top 40 radio. They had a couple of hits, but that was all, just a movement below the surface. And look at all the love for Bob Weir. Paul McCartney put out a statement of condolence. Paul recently had an appearance where Bob Weir came up on stage and played with him. So, they're beloved to this day, and it was a great loss. He was a great songwriter, and he was awesome. So we're going to miss Bob Weir. That was a shock to me.
All right, a couple of minutes here. I want to mention one other thing here. How can people want to get in contact with you, or two, listen to your programs as well?
Well, thank you, Joey. I appreciate that. You know, in the 70s, I loved WVBF. They were playing some great music, and it's an honor to be back on with you, one of my favorite broadcasters. But my show is called Breakfast with the Beatles, and since we last spoke, we added a couple of more states to our list. It's New England's Breakfast with the Beatles. I host it Saturday mornings from 6 to 8 a.m. on WUMB in Boston, 91.9 FM or WUMB.org. On Sunday mornings, I'm on WVTK in Vermont, Seacoast Oldies in New Hampshire and Maine, and now I'm on KRPR in Minnesota. So the show is growing. It's a 2-hour program of not only the Beatles songs that you've heard so many times and loved, but so many alternate tracks, solo catalogs, outtakes. We play the spoken word. We have Dave Lentz, the Mad Remixer. Every week he remixes a different Beatles track with a backstory. People love that segment. And you can find the show on Facebook, and we have a website, breakfastwiththebeatleschachi.com.
All right, I want to thank you for joining us once again, and we'll be talking again, I'm sure, before the end of the winter. And also, we'll be talking many more times here before the Lorenzo's thing here in the summer. You know, summer can't come soon enough, because especially with this weekend.
Eating pasta under the stars. But I will tell you, Joey, I always appreciate the invite to come on your show.
Yep.
I think you're a great broadcaster. Give my best to Don, and I hope to see you guys very, very soon.
All right, thank you so much, Chachi. Have a great day.
You too, Joey. Thanks.
Bye-bye. That was Chachi LaPret giving us a call here for a couple of minutes, talking about some of the big events for the Beatles in 2025 and some of the things coming up for 2026 for the Beatles as well, and also some of the big events in 2025 for his show, and also some of the big things coming up in 2026. He'll be back at Lorenzo's this summer as well. We'll have him on again before the end of the winter, so stay tuned for that as well. What is coming up next week? Well, next week we have Alan Frawley calling in, and he'll be talking about school committee and many other things as well, Middleborough related. A lot of big news stories in Middleborough here to talk about as we get into election season, as well as we also ramp up town manager search as well, and also library as well. A lot of things going on with the library in Middleborough as well. So a lot of news stories going on in Middleborough. We'll have Alan Frawley on next week to talk about some of these. So stay tuned for that next week. The week after, we have our sports guy, Eric Dunn, on once again. We'll be talking about, sure, we'll have a Super Bowl preview, whether the Patriots are in it or not. I hope they are. It'll make the sports talk about the game, the Super Bowl game, a lot more interesting. He'll be joining us live in the studio in the second hour of the program on, what day is that? Let's see. That is February the 6th. He'll be joining us. That's February the 6th. He'll be joining us. Also coming up in February, you heard Thomas White as well. We're going to have him on in February. We're going to have also a guest from Traveling New England. I haven't finalized the details of that yet, but I have been in contact with him. We're going to have a guest on from Traveling New England out of the western part of the state, talking about some of the big traveling attractions of the New England area, and a lot about that. We'll have him on very, very soon. Hopefully also in February as well, maybe in March. And also potentially John Logan as well. I've been in contact with John Logan. Chachi has mentioned John Logan today. We will also have John Logan on, either just John Logan or with Chachi. Next time we have Chachi on as well. So we have a lot of great guests coming up. No guests on Sunday. I did mention that we may have a guest on Sunday. Dawn texted me a update. We have no guest for this Sunday's program. So we're going to focus on, we're going to focus on the transportation topic a little bit. We'll have some local news as well, I'm sure, and much, much more. So we have a lot of great guests coming up on the Friday program here on Hometown Talk, the Friday edition of Hometown Talk. We also have some great topics coming up here. The Super Bowl is coming up. On Super Bowl Sunday, we'll have Danny Harmon of the Distant Signal YouTube channel on the Middleborough in Review program on Super Bowl Sunday, so stay tuned for that. We have him on every Super Bowl Sunday. So we have a lot of great guests, a lot of great topics to talk about here on all of my shows, Middleborough Matters, Middleborough Review, and Hometown Talk, the Friday edition. All right, it is 11 a.m. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. I will be back on Sunday, January 25th, for another edition of Middleborough Review. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody, and go Patriots. Bye-bye.
We are AM 1530, WVBF, Middleborough, Taunton, and W259DD, Middleborough Center, 99.7 FM, your hometown radio station.
We're going to have all the military access that we want, Trump said on Fox Business. We're getting everything we want at no cost. The president suspended his threat of tariffs starting on February 1, meeting on Wednesday with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Trump has directed the levies at 8 European nations for opposing his push to take Greenland, which is an autonomous territory.